What screams, "This person is dumb" to you?
Story 1.
You know when someone is lying about something so blatantly obvious and they think they fooled everyone with their lie?
Recomment.
My company brought on a consultant to assist us with graphic design. This guy proceeded to tell us that one of his previous jobs was on an army base and that at lunch he would sneak into the silos to paint peace symbols on the nuclear missiles. He didn't last 2 weeks before security escorted him out the door.
Story 2.
Using buzzwords without knowing what they mean, especially when you ask them to clarify what they are talking about, and they continue regurgitating the same buzzwords.
Story 3.
Unable to accept anything they don't personally experience. Example, they dislike a movie, so they think anybody who says they like it is lying.
Story 4.
The more important they make themselves sound, the less important they generally are. The number of really ignorant people who overvalue themselves inside their company, "Oh, this place would be screwed without me," etc.
Recomment.
Oh my God, yes. I had a friend that said that kind of stuff about her son. The place would close down in a week if son left because he's the only one who knows what he's doing. Son got fired, and shockingly, the place is still up and running 20 years later.
Story 5.
Thinking people speaking a second language imperfectly means the person is stupid.
Recomment.
I speak English as a first in Spanish fairly okay enough. I was dating a guy from Guatemala, and he was learning English, but I knew more Spanish than he did English. So we mainly conversed in Spanish. He always made fun of me for grammatical error, or I'll make a very specific face when I'm trying to think of the word I need, would always copy me and laugh, made me feel the worse. When I insisted we speak in English, to give him a taste of his own medicine, he got really upset when I kept copying his mispronounced words.
Recomment.
My old landscaping boss used to think this with the Mexican workers we had. He was pretty simple himself, and just took their broken English as a sign that they were dumber than him. I took it as an opportunity to hone my Spanish while teaching them better English. They really appreciated someone not mocking them. They were all very self-conscious of their English, but having some gringo speaking Spanish with poor grammar really helped them overcome it. We spoke in some awesome Spanglish. Anytime a word or grammar piece came up, I'd teach them in English, and they would teach me in Spanish. I'd ask them questions in Spanish, they'd ask me in English. I'd answer in English, they'd answer in Spanish. Our normal conversations were a mix of both. It's amazing how much better I got to know them, how much better their personalities shined when the cloak of embarrassment due to a language barrier was removed. The barrier was still there, but the embarrassment was gone. I miss those guys, but not landscaping. That shit sucks. So much.
Story 6.
I'd have to say people who value winning an argument or debate over being correct. Basically the folks who, when presented with new information that conflicts with what they previously believed, reject it in favor of reaffirming whatever it was that they already believed. I've always viewed being proven wrong about something as an opportunity to learn more things. A person who doesn't want, that shows me that they don't care about learning new things, just about showing off and parroting the things they already know.
Story 7.
Inability to perform any type of critical thinking and only believing and memorizing what they are taught and told. These people often have little to no curiosity and are afraid of change and the unknown.
Recomment.
I once dated a guy who was an aerospace engineer and his sister was a doctor, and they both had the critical thinking skills and emotional intelligence of a bag of rocks. I spent years assuming they were smarter than me because of their jobs, but in hindsight, I think they were both just really good at memorizing shit and then acting like superior beings because of their respective job titles.
Story 8.
Can't see complexity on a topic. For example, unable to thoroughly explain their reasoning or describe any potential negative consequences of their own actions. Additionally, anyone who refuses to listen to the opposing view, as they must be right already, and there is no way there is some detail they are missing that could change things.
Story 9.
Only using their own personal views and life experiences to make decisions. Honey, just because you feed your dog chocolate and onions doesn't mean that chocolate is toxic to dogs is a conspiracy. You crazy idiot.
Recomment.
Had a roommate that would clean the week's leftovers out of the fridge into the dog's bowl. Because she's fine dog was not fine, she stunk like skin infection and had liquid shits constantly. Stuff consisted of onions too, and I told her that they are so poisonous to dogs, but she was the type that could never be wrong, so she didn't care, and then would do it out of spite. Then she'd constantly bathe the dog to help the smell, tried telling her that's making it worse too.
Story 10.
Retweeting, forwarding, or sharing false information that would be revealed as false if they had bothered to take 30 seconds to Google it to verify.
Recomment.
Added points if they don't even take down the post even when it's been disproven. Like, I get that a lot of fake news is designed to be believable, especially for older people who tend to trust authority figures like doctors more blindly. I get it that someone may be alarmed enough to share a post from a doctor saying X is dangerous. They trust the doctor title and only want to help. But when it's proved to be a fake story, they just dig in deeper. Even if the person pointing out the fakeness is super polite about it, it drives me nuts. It's not just a politics thing either, that's a whole other beast. I see it in health and wellness stuff, constantly. And the people sharing it aren't like grifters or anything. They are just aunties and grandmas who don't want us poisoning ourselves with whatever the head grifter decided was bad for us that week.
Story 11.
They show an unwillingness to even try to figure anything out in their own. I can't hit the button. I've never done that before. You need to help me.
Recomment.
When they refuse to learn anything new, they try to cover it up by claiming to be old school. I used to work customer service and would often have to walk boomers through our website to set up autopay. It really wasn't that hard, but these fucking old people would completely give up before even turning their computer on, completely unwilling to learn, and every single one of them at some point in the conversation would say the same stupid thing. I'm just old school. But no, they aren't stubborn, they aren't stupid, they aren't scared of new things, they aren't afraid to learn something. They're old school.
Story 12.
If they're concerningly rough with animals or treat them like objects in any way, I'm convinced anyone who lacks empathy for animals or doesn't treat them like they're living things is an idiot.
Recomment.
My mother rehomed her chickens, and I was there to help catch them. The couple that were taking them were one of her co-workers and her husband. The husband apparently decided our way of catching the hens was taking too long because we were trying to do it safely for the hens. He stomps his big ugly dumb ass into the coop and starts kicking the birds into a corner and then picking them up, 2 per hand, by their wings or upside down by a leg. They were screaming and crying in pain in a way I've literally never heard a chicken scream before. It was fucking awful. I guarantee he 100% broke some of their bones, and he shoved them roughly into an open-air dog kennel on a flatbed trailer where they huddled crying and terrified in a corner, trying to hide under each other. I think my mom could tell I was fucking pissed. I held my tongue though because I didn't want to fight, and that man honestly scared me. He was big, emotionless, and something about him really freaked me out. I just kept trying to grab as many hens as I could before he could hurt them. The coworker later divorced him because, surprise, surprise, he was an abusive asshole. Whoever could have seen that coming?
Story 13.
I'm a Central American immigrant to the US and got my citizenship a while back. At the ceremony, I overheard 2 Mexican women next to me complaining that a Guatemalan refugee they know got citizenship before they did. Then right after we were sworn in, they complained that there's too many Central American immigrants in this country, saying, "We're full, those people need to go back to their own countries." It's been alarmingly common in my experience, just how many Mexican people hate Central Americans, despite us having the same ethnicity, and how they don't realize they treat us exactly how Americans treat them.